Daqui apa? Almost dekat. Ham. Ya, no, dekat. Dekat. Hari ini.
Pandisha ju auri.
Or is it? This is alright. बस बस नेटवर्क ऑप्शन है बस नेटवर्क بل محمد وآل محمد صلوات. We are starting as usual with the breathing exercise, and we will start with Anulom Vilom. So what you do, just press this part of your nose, the right one, okay? Just see what I do, you see? Do like this. And breathe in deeply. Then press the other side, hold on to it for a few, 1 second, and then breathe out this way. But when you breathe in, put your tongue behind your tooth. And when you breathe out, do a shish sound, or psh sound. Here. Hold it. Sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry about that. You breathe out and you do the shush sound, and the other one is okay. This is a very good exercise which is called pranayam yoga. Pranayam is breathing exercise. This is the basic exercise which is very beneficial for so many problems that we are facing, especially those people who are facing, who have heart problems, you see. Okay. After this, we do the Kapalbhati. Just see what I do. Your tummy, you breathe, you expel here, and then put your tummy inside. See? As you expel your air here, put your tummy inside. All right. Now we do bumblebee. Bumblebee is for those people who are suffering from sinus problem or catarrh, their throat, you see. So what you do, you press your 2 ears here. Now this is where you put your tongue above your tooth here, okay? Now breathe in. Make a sound like a bumblebee. Again, breathe in. Again. The last one, breathe in deeply. Asad. Now, there is this exercise which is good for those people who are finding it difficult to sleep at night, who suffer from insomnia, who have got anxiety. Breathe in at the count of 4, then hold your breath at the count of 7, and then breathe out at the count of 8. See, now when you breathe in, your tummy should come out. So breathe in at the count of 4, hold at the count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now breathe out. This is where you do. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now breathe out. Okay. Now breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now breathe out. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Start with 4, and then you can build up to 8. And this is the last one for people who want to meditate. Just normal breathing. Breathe in deeply and breathe out through the mouth. So we'll do the tapping exercise. You see, this is to activate your meridian zone. All your organs of the body are activated, you see. You start with this karate chopping. Use your fingers. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Here. Yeah. Not here, he. Your karate chop. Alafsa Sahapa. This side. Huh? This, they're for kidney, for liver, for heart, for so many things, you see. There are 9 meridian zones, you see, which are recommended to activate your various organs that you have, you see. And you say to yourself that I'm getting better. You just, psychologically, it's good, especially those people who have pains, you see. All right? Now here, the end of your eyebrows. Use your fingers. Up, all right? Now here, behind Karbina Machaka, you see? Good. So here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now here. Now go to your collarbone here. 4 down, a little bit this way, and then tap here. Do this every day in the morning. It's good for you. I feel better now. All the pain is gone. So here, 4 fingers, go a bit down, and then this way. And now this way. Seventeen. Sasa pa juu. Good, Asante. We start now with some exercises, please. All right, if you could stand up, please. Hi. Pole, slowly. You don't have to just do that, okay? You, not like this. Go this way, down. Good. You stretch your, not the other way. Good. Now here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now do like this. The other way. All right. Okay, now go down. And then the other side. This side. Now try and go a bit further down if you can. Good. All right. Now this way. So you're stretching all parts of your body, so you become supple. So heavy. This way, go all the way down. Go the other way. Good. Now, go this way. Try and stretch as much as possible, if you can. Good. Now, the other way. Very good. Now, do this way. Stretch this leg, and you should feel some tension on your thighs, you see. And now the other way. All right. Now, raise your right leg, but hold on to the chair. This is for those people suffering from balance problem. Just hold on to it, you see. I don't want you to hold it just like that, it'll fall down. And don't do with the 2 legs, just 1 leg. I try to. Right. Now the other one. Manisha, you. All right. Now, this you are behind your chair, all right? What you do, go back. Just make sure, let's see what I do. Now you should feel tension here. On your calf, the tension to be on your calf. So you're strengthening your calf. And then bend a bit, so you will strengthen your heels. All right? Now do the other one. Your calf should be very, very strong. You see, this is very, very important. Your whole body depends upon this part. Now bend a bit. Good. Now, if you are able to, don't force yourself. Just do like this. You are strengthening your thighs muscle, see? You should feel tension there. Can you feel it? Eh? All right? Now do the other leg. Go this way a little bit. You should feel some pain here. This one? That's right. So it's good, isn't it? Yeah. Now, if you could sit down and then stand up, please. Just sit down and put your hand here. Try as much as possible you can. Hi. Stand up. Sit down again. 2, 3. Slowly, gradually. No. If you can't, hold on to the chair, please. And I don't want you to fall down, you see. If you are able to, then do it this way. And at home, if you can't do it on the chair, do it on your sofa, you see. It is much easier. Pipi. Una hema. All right, okay. I don't want to do. Hi. Nadavi? Slowly go down.
You don't have to bow to Malcolm. You know, he's a nice man.
Hi.
Yes.
Racini. Sorry, but I'm. Thanks, Hassan.
Okay. Thank you very much, Murtada Bandali. It was a good exercise, and at least some people have gained, and all of them, those who have taken part. Inviting Mr. Ladakh Musaddiq Ladakh for Quran and tafsir. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is a lastminute.com request, so inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أولا يرون أنهم يفتنون في كل عام مرة أو مرتين ثم لا يتوبون ولهم يذكرون.
وإذا ما أنزلت سورة نزل بعضهم إلى بعض هل يراكم من أحد ثم انصرفوا صرف الله قلوبهم بأنهم قوم لا يفقهون لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما أنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت فهو رب العرش العظيم آمنا صدق الله العلي العظيم. Give me 5 minutes, very important. We are here today celebrating the wonderful birth anniversary of the Allah's most chosen Habib, his creation, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. From me to all the mu'mineen, all my elders, my teachers, the congratulations for this auspicious day, inshallah. I recited this surah, which is Surah Tawbah. That's why you saw me not reciting Bismillah. One of the reasons, and I have to cut this very short because I got only 5 minutes, but it's befitting that if you do the tilawat of Quran, you do a bit of tadabbur on it. One of the main reasons that we do not recite Bismillah in Surah Tawbah, 113 times Allah has said Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim to be recited for all surahs except this one. Why? Allah in this surah has given 4 months to the kuffars and the munafiqins to get themselves sorted out. Otherwise, He says, I'm going to declare war upon you. Now, Allah's, out of 99 names, out of His 99 sifats, which is the two most ones that He prefers, which is the most true ones that He wants to be known as? Mali. Alhamdulillah. May the Father is spot on this morning. He wants to be known as Ar-Rahman and as Ar-Rahim. Rahman is to us all, the mu'mins. Ar-Rahim is special. Now, when Allah wants to be known as Rahman and Rahim, even when He is now trying to declare a warning and a war, He doesn't want to be known as a person who takes revenge, al-qarar, or be angry. He prefers, although He's giving a warning, although He's being very harsh, He says, sort yourselves out, others I'm going to go to war with him. That means Rasulullah will go to war. He still wants to be known as the most beneficent and the most compassionate. That is one of the reasons that we don't have Bismillah in Surah Tawbah. Second thing is Rasulullah. Let me ask you this question. It's his birthday today, right? It took him 23 years to bring the community of Hijaz, the Arabs, who were known as worse than cattle, in the Quran is known, that they were worse than animals, from that standard to that standard, where they were the best of the whole creation. Within 23 odd years, he brings the standard of the Jahil, the people who used to fight each other for centuries. They used to bury their girls. They used to go to war. They used to sell the ladies of the family into slavery, prostitution, to pay off their gambling debts. They were economically ruined because of all these fights and gambling and knowing that we are better than somebody else. Well, they're not. Yet he changed the standard. Let me ask this one question. When Jibreel came to Rasulullah and said, Iqra bismi rabbika khalaq, the first, every surah's introduction, say, read. You think people just changed within one night, 2 nights, 3 nights, 1 month, 1 year? Was it just like a fairy coming and waving a wand and people just changing from a jahiliyat to the pinnacle of humanity? No. There is a reason. Malim knows, you know, that the first surah was Surah Alaq. Second was Qalam, education, compassion. Now, this one ayah which I have recited very quickly, I got 2 more minutes. It says, لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ عَزِيزٌ عَلَيْهِ مَا أَنِمْتُمْ حَرِيضٌ عَلَيْكُمْ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَؤُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. Ra'ufu Rahim. Allah's Ar-Rahman is Rahim. The only quality he beholds is of compassionate. Rahim. No other person, no other human being has been given that other title, except here in Surah Tawbah, that Allah says, within yourselves I have created, set forth a person amongst you, Rasulullah, my beloved, my messenger. And one of his quality is Rahim. That is the meaning of this 128 ayat in Surah Tawbah, that Allah says, I am Rahim, but the only other person I'm allowing is Rasulullah. So, in 23 years, where there was once cursing Rasulullah, telling him you're a magician, throwing feces at him, all the negative things the Abu Lahab and those of his clan said about Rasulullah, Rasulullah was compassionate. He was sabr, with patience, and slowly with education, with love, with humility, he raised the standard of those people from that to that. And that is why when we say Rasulullah's birth anniversary is important, it's important so that we do not forget that Allah's most chosen, beautiful person who has brought to us Hidayah, Surah Jummah, brought us Hidayah, and inshallah will take us to the paradises that we well deserve. Wassalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. I have never recited something so fast in all my life, because Dr. Saab is here.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. We are really patient to take 5 minutes more just to listen to the tafsir, beautiful tafsir for benefit. Now, before announcing the lecturer here, we would like to do Surah Fatiha for Marhuma Fatma Bai Rashid Moledina, Marhumin of Moledina Asarwala family, Marhumin of Merali Devji family, Marhumin of Rashid Hamraj family, Marhumin of Sundarji Amarsi family, and also we have received recently news about Marhum Murtaza Ghulam Hussain Rajbali, father of Sheikh Hasnain Rajbali, and recently our great friend of Zanzibar, who everybody knows, the Kims, who started our nursery here. His brother has died, Marhum Muhammad Akbar Nathani Taqib. Al-Fatih, and also all our marhumin, your marhumin, and everybody who is missed out. Thank you very much. Al-Fatiha. Please, we are welcoming our greatest doctor, Mr. Nizar Merali, for his wonderful speech, and I hope the ladies are also listening and with us as well. No, I'm here. I'm just.
I think we need to get the mic sorted out, right? Are you sitting here? We can't see exactly, unless you want to be on the wall or if you want to sit. Yes, sir. Shall I sit?
My father, my uncles, my seniors, my contemporaries, my sisters on the other side, and my mother's on the other side. Assalamu alaikum. I thank Sultan Bhai, Azad Bhai, and Ismail Bhai for giving me this opportunity to talk again. And the topic I've chosen, as you know, is detection of cancer early. I start with my first slide to repeat.
Yes, sir.
They are very upset.
Okay. So let's have the next slide. So we start with congratulating each other on this wonderful occasion of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the final prophet, peace be upon him. The topic of cancer, if I can have a look at the next slide, is an important one. Which one of these four do you think are correct? In United Kingdom, by the way, all my figures are essentially of United Kingdom. So in United Kingdom, generally, do you think the commonest cause is heart attack, stroke, etc., which is cardiovascular disease? Or do you think it's liver-related disease? Or do you think it's lung-related disease? Do you think it's cancer-related disease? Which one of the four do you think it is correct as a topmost cause of death? Anybody guess?
One would think would be heart failure because we see a lot of heart-related deaths.
Okay, let's have the next slide. Yeah, but
because the topic is of cancer,
you think it is cancer?
it is going to be cancer.
Next slide. Okay. Yes, it is cancer. As I have always said, if you don't die in your 40s and 50s with heart attack and strokes, and if you don't die in your 60s and 70s of cancer, and if you don't die in your 80s and 90s of dementia, and if you live, then you will probably live up to 100, 110, but we are all going to die. And I'm pretty certain that with the iman that we have, we are all prepared for that, aren't we? If you look at the next slide, By the way, all of these slides, I'm happy to share with you. I haven't made enough hard copies, so I beg those of you who have got access to a smartphone or a computer, please allow me to send you an electronic version of it. And those of you who don't have, okay, is that any better? Huh? Okay. So I'm just saying that I got few copies, hard copies of this. Those of you who do not have access to a computer or smartphone, please collect one. The rest of you, please wait, and we'll share it electronically through Azad Bhai and others through your group. Similarly, on the women's side. So I've sent some copies on the women's side as well. On the women's side, I've sent some more literature as well, which may be useful. So in the United Kingdom, as you can see, 42% of deaths are due to cancer now. And if you look at the next slide, the incidence of cancer increases as you get older. So our age, yeah, we have escaped the heart attacks, inshallah. We have escaped the strokes. Yeah, so we are now in the age group of getting cancer or dementia or old age. This is generally I'm talking about. I'm not saying that all of us will die of cancer. Next, look at the next slide. So let's look at some of the statistics, if you can have a look at the next slide. This is United Kingdom, just under 400,000 people die every year with cancer. It's almost every 2 minutes, one person goes. Of all those people who are diagnosed with cancer, and normally cancer cure is assessed or defined as 10-year survival. The day you start cancer, if you survive up to 10 years after the diagnosis of cancer, it's thought to be cure. It's thought to be survival. So as you can see, 50% of all those people with cancer survive 10 years later. But there is a huge difference if cancer is detected early. So this is what my talk is about. If we are going to get cancer, Allah knows best. Nothing that you can do. There are a few risk factors that we'll talk about in a moment. But if we do get cancer, the sooner it's diagnosed, the more likelihood of a remarkable cure. And in fact, in the case of breast cancer, for example, in women, if it's detected early enough, it's 100% cure. 100% cure, almost. There are many other cancers that we won't talk about in childhood, which again have got 100% cure. If I look at the next slide. So in the United Kingdom, if I look at the next slide, please. Can we have a look at the next slide? Okay. So, and this next slide after that. So in the United Kingdom, the 4 commonest cancers, next slide please, are these. So in women, it's breast cancer. In women, the second most common cancer is lung cancer. And the third most common cancer is bowel cancer. In men, is prostate as the most common cancer. And then the same, lung cancer is the second most, and then the bowel cancer. So today I'm going to concentrate on just those 4 cancers because they form the majority. But of course there are many other types of cancer. We can't possibly deal with every one of those. But after the talk, if any one of you want to talk to me about any particular type of cancer, then I'm happy to talk to you about. So let's look at the next slide. So we start with breast cancer in women. And if you look at the next slide after that. So here are some statistics about breast cancer. As I said, it's the most commonest one. 55,000 women, new cases of breast cancer in the United Kingdom. Yeah, almost 150 a day. %23% of them are preventable. Yeah. So for every breast cancer, all the 4 types of breast cancer, we'll look at the risk factors and see how we can mitigate the risks to reduce the incidence of cancer. Compared to the white community, the black and the Asian community, breast cancer incidence is lesser. Let's look at the next slide. So here are the risk factors of breast cancer. If you've got previous history of breast cancer, you're more likely to get another breast cancer. If you've got a family history, there are certain types of breast cancers that run in the family. But neither of those you can change. There are other factors like starting periods early, or having menopause later, or having your first pregnancy later, or using the contraceptive pill, and being overweight. As you can see, in percentage terms, overweight is quite a significant risk factor for breast cancer. So that's what I was talking about when I said there are ways to prevent it. Let's look at the next slide. Let's look at men's prostate cancer now. And the slide after that. So again, you can see that if you remember, breast cancer was 55,000 a year. This is 52,300 a year, almost the same, and almost same number on an everyday basis. Again, it's lower in the Asian community, but surprisingly, it's higher in the black community, prostate cancer specifically. And we look at the next slide. Unfortunately, for prevention of prostate cancer, there are not many risk factors that we can work upon. So there is nothing that we can do in terms of prevention is concerned. Age is an important factor for prostate cancer. The older you are, the more likely for you to get it. And family history also is a common factor, but you can't do anything about age, you can't do anything about the family history. Let's look at the lung cancer, next slide. So here, I'm sure you can all guess what the commonest risk factor is with the lung cancer. Yeah? Who can tell me? Yeah, what is smoking? Yeah, risk factor, lung cancer, yeah? It's a very significant, yeah? It's a very significant risk factor as far as lung cancer is concerned. In terms of numbers, it's about half of that of prostate cancer and breast cancer. So we get about between 23 to 25,000 per year. It is, again, lower in the Asians and black community. And the incidence gets greater as we get older. Let's look at the next slide. So, as we discussed earlier, and it's quite clearly shown in red there, smoking is singularly the commonest cause of lung cancer, which is preventable. Yeah? If you don't smoke, you are less likely to get cancer. Let's look at the next slide. Bowel cancer, what are the factors about that? Again, numbers are about 23, 24,000, so about half that of prostate, the same as the number of lung cancers. Lower again in the Asian and the black community. But look at the last point there. 54% of bowel cancer cases in the UK are preventable. Let's look at the next slide and see what the risk factors are of the bowel cancer then. So lack of fiber in the diet is a risk factor, and eating processed meat is the second largest risk factor. We don't eat much, but generally salami and other raw meat and processed meat that people eat, maybe our youngsters do it, I don't know, but I hate it. But that's one of the significant causes of bowel cancer, and so is smoking here as well. So let's look at the next slide. So having heard what I've just said, let's just go one by one. Is smoking a risk factor? Yes or no? No? Yeah, yes. Is being young a risk factor as opposed to old? No. Old age, greater risk. Family history a risk factor if somebody in the family has had cancer? Yeah. Drinking alcohol is a risk factor? I didn't touch on that because I know none of us drink. Using deodorants, do you think that's a risk factor? No, it isn't. It's a fallacy, it's a myth. Is walking too much likely to cause cancer? The opposite, isn't it? And eating the wrong food? And sun exposure, it is actually. Sun exposure, particularly the white skin and the melanomas, does cause cancer. Let's look at the next slide. So globally, these are the risk factors. Age, older you are, the more likely for you to get cancer. Genetics, family history, there's family history of cancer, you're more likely to get it. And exposure. Exposure to all of those things listed here. Smoking as the topmost one. 1 billion people on the earth smoke. Next slide. I mentioned earlier that the earlier you detect cancer, more likely for a good outcome in terms of treatment and cure. So there are essentially 5 stages of cancer, starting with very small cancer of a lump, of a growth somewhere, and then the next stage is getting larger, but still remaining within the prostate gland, or within the bowel, or within the breast. And the next stage is when it starts growing larger and goes outside the bowel or reaches the skin of the breast. And the next stage is that it spreads locally to the local lymph glands, breast cancer around here, prostate glands around the locality, bowel cancer again spreading locally, and finally it has spread everywhere, including the lungs and the liver and the brain, etc. So all the stages. Earlier you detect stage 0 or stage 1, greater the cure. And again, my talk is, how do we detect early? This is what it's all about, yeah? My talk today, the emphasis is, how do we detect early? And I'll come to that. Let's go to the next slide. So there are various screening programs in the country. What does screening essentially mean? Yeah. So we could, for example, this group of people here, we could screen you all, can't you, for whatever. Say if you want to screen you for high blood pressure. So we take everyone's high blood pressure and see who has got high blood pressure, put them on one side, who has got normal blood pressure, put them on the other side. And for the high blood pressure, do something about it. Yeah? That's called screening. So when it comes to cancer, screening programs are expensive. I mean, how many other countries do we know that have screening programs for the whole population? Does Kenya have it? Does Tanzania have it? Does Uganda have it, where I just been? Yeah. UK, we are lucky that 100% of the population in the risk factors are actually put through screening for cancer, free of charge. Free of charge, without any cost. Is that a good idea or not? Yeah? To detect it early. But screening program has to be cost effective. Yeah? Let me give you an example. If everybody who smokes, if the government decided, let's do a chest x-ray every year or every 2 years, chest x-ray of people who smoke, so that we can detect cancer early. By the time it is picked up on chest x-ray, it is too late. So it's not done. So screening program has to be cost effective. In other words, you screen, you detect, you then treat, and there's a treatment available. And then only it makes worthwhile to do that. Do you see what I mean? Earlier investment with the outcome. If the outcome is there, then only it's worthwhile investing for the screening. So there are 3 screening programs in the country. Let's look at them. Let's look at the next slide. Before I come to those screening programs, I just want to illustrate what I said earlier. I don't know, it looks too complicated, the slide, but believe me, it's quite simple. In fact, I'll go to the next slide. Yeah, this is probably clearer. Diagnose earlier stages, diagnose later stages. Yeah? The 3 main cancers, lung, bowel, and breast. If it's diagnosed earlier case, 6 out of 10 will survive 5 years or more. If diagnosed late, only 1 out of 10 survive. Similarly, bowel cancer, 9 out of 10 will survive. 9 out of 10 will survive if picked up early. Otherwise, only 1 out of 10 will survive. And look at this, breast cancer, almost all of them will survive if picked early. And these are if they are picked up late. So emphasis, early detection. How? Screening. Pick it up at screening and treat, and you're treated, and you're cured. Let's look at the next slide. So 3 screening programs funded by United Kingdom NHS that for us not to participate, I think, is a sin. I really believe that. Yeah? If something has been offered to you which is good for you, and for you then to not participate in it, how can you justify that? And it's free of cost. So, bowel screening, and I'll talk to you about this in a moment, for all men and all women from age 60 up to 74.
Not over 75.
No, but you can ask for it. For those, so again, I go back to my point. They thought it was worthwhile doing the screening for that particular age. Outside that age, return on investment wasn't there. Do you see what I mean? Because the incidence is less. The peak incidence, but you can still get the test done through your GP. But screening means you are invited through your letterbox, through your email, come and get it done. Personal invitations. And look at the breast cancer, age 50 to 70. And if you get a mammography done, here you get a kit done, yeah? Raise hands those of you who have received a poo test through the post. Now keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Now I'm going to ask you another question and be very honest. Who has not done it yet? Be honest. Okay, fine. Okay, at least you're honest. I know touching poo is messy. Okay?
Why do you say 6 stool samples?
Sorry?
Why do you say 6 stool samples?
No, so they work it out, they divide it. I don't know if you received the kit yet, and you've done the kit. The way you do it, the test then in the laboratory is divided into 6 tests, just randomly. Don't worry about that. So breast cancer, breast screening is through a mammography, yeah? That's a special X-ray of the breast. Okay? If the women sitting here, I would ask the same question. How many of you have been invited? And how many of you have not gone there? Cervical screening. Again, if the women sitting here, I would ask the same thing. How many of you have been invited for cervical screening? through your GP and you've not had it done. Cervix is the tip of the womb. The womb is called uterus, and cervix is at the tip where the baby comes out. So cancer of that has been found to be cost effective. That's why the screening program is there. Let's look at the next slide. So for those 3 of you or 4 of you who are honest enough and said they haven't done the screening, which one of the reasons is it? Are you too busy? Did you not understand what you get? And by the way, look, aren't we lucky in the country we're living in? Every kit, you have got a choice of having it in the language of your choice. Every information you can have in the language of your choice. Okay? So for you to not understand whether you're an Afghani or a Somali or an Iraqi because you don't understand English is not a reason. You know, there are 250 languages spoken in London today. 250 languages in London. Okay? But I'm not saying that it's available in 250 languages, but quite a large number of languages which covers most of them. Because most people know more than one language. So if you're an Indian, you're likely to know Hindi and Gujarati and Marathi or whatever. So one of those languages will be there.
I think for me, I think it's a low risk for me. But at the same time, why invite something which is not there?
Okay, so shall I answer that? And the question answer is a good point. Remind me. We'll discuss about that. It's a good point. Okay. So you think your risk is low. Why get it done?
That and why invite something which is not
And
there?
why try and find out something that
I
is?
know that you're 100%. You know, it's just an idiotic
Yeah,
process.
sure.
Very idiotic.
Yeah.
I know.
But don't you think I've convinced you enough to say that detecting early is beneficial?
Yeah, of course. Any sane person will do that.
Yeah. But you think sometimes you rather not know.
No, it's no question of not knowing. Personally, just for me, I'm a very laid-back guy. I don't stress. I don't overthink. And I say,
You'll die very peaceful, inshallah.
I don't want to die in the next couple of 100 years.
Yeah, of course. When 120. Last week there was an article in The Economist that there's now life expectancy.
Yeah.
People will live up to 120. Inshallah, you'll die at 120 and peacefully. Let's look at the next slide. So the cervical cancer we talked about, it's not a test to find cancer, but it's a test to find early changes of cancer such that there's a treatment. Next slide. Breast mammogram. It's done every 2 years. It's done every 5 years for the women who are between the age of 50 to 70. It's 2 X-rays of each breast. There is a link here, which is these are very good 2 links in Gujarati and English on breast cancer that I would ask every woman there to just, it's 5 minutes video, worthwhile looking at it. Next slide. And the poo test, as we heard, is a test kit that you recognize, that we all get it through the post in our homes, and it's just a matter of one day sitting and reading the instructions and getting it done. Next slide. So 3 key, I finish. 3 key take-home points. I wanted to keep more time for questioning, question answers. 3 key take-home points. Detecting early is important. There is benefit. There's absolutely no doubt there is benefit. The screening programs do actually reduce the number of people dying from cancer. We showed that. Yeah, breast cancer detected early, 100% cure. And life changes can make a difference. So if you're overweight, reducing weight. If you're smoking, stopping smoking, do make changes in your risk of cancer. I think I've finished. Next question. I wouldn't be doing justice if I didn't talk to you about the Salam Center. 2 slides. Yeah. So it's the project is moving very well. We signed the 2nd phase contract in October for 6 million. We've got 1.2 million more to collect. Next slide. North Harrow Pharmacy, for those of you who don't know, 25% of the profit goes to the Salam Center. It's a COVID center, it's a flu test center as well. Final slide. This is, inshallah, this is what we'll see in May 2024. The building will be complete. The roof, the glazing, the windows, the facade, the external landscape, all will be done. Inside it will still be a shell, and then inshallah we move on. So, who is going to ask the first question?
The symptoms.
Also.
Thank you very much for listening so nicely. The reason why we said that the question should be on cancer only, not personal and not otherwise, so that we can give chances to everybody. Only one question per person. And we want to invite one guest also to speak here, so we've got limited time. Thank you.
Sorry. I mean, should I, so that women can hear the question as well?
Thank you very much, Dr. Nizar. It was very educative and informative. I just wanted to ask you about the symptoms of cancer, and if it is also possible to have cancer without having any symptoms.
Murtaza, that's a very good question. So generally, if you are developing cancer in any part of the body, the first symptom is fatigue, tiredness. But then don't we all feel tired every day for no reason as well? So it's not specifically for cancer, but I'll mention a few others, and all of those in combination should ring a bell. So fatigue or tiredness. Number two, any change in your body in terms of breast lump, you can feel it, skin, you can see that the black mole that you always had is getting larger, it's changing in shape, it's bleeding, it's itchy. Bleeding from the back passage, bleeding in your urine, and women bleeding after having stopped the bleeding. In other words, after menopause, if you start bleeding, then that should ring a bell as well. Coughing blood, vomiting blood, passing blood in the poo, passing blood in the urine, and passing blood through the vagina. These are all telltale signs, and you should be wary of that. Added to that, weight loss. Yeah, I know we are all in the swing of losing weight, but this is unintentional weight loss. Yeah. So if I'm on a diet, if I'm on a keto diet or intermittent fasting, and if I'm losing weight, that's different. But if you're losing weight unintentionally, you have to take it seriously. So investment in a bath scale in your bathroom and weighing yourself periodically is a good idea. So feeling tired, or you'll notice blood, or you'll notice some changes in your body shape, or a swelling of the tummy, or whatever, the best thing is to go to your GP and get it checked. And the GP has got an added tool, hasn't he? He can send you for a chest x-ray. If you're suspecting any lung issue, he can send you for a poo test, the FIT test. If you're suspecting cancer of the bowel, he can send a urine sample off. He can do a PSA test, which is for the prostate cancer. He can do a general blood test, which will tell him a lot as to what is happening. There are certain factors or indicators in a blood sample, even a simple full blood count, which reflect, if you like, inflammation in your body. It doesn't tell you cancer. It doesn't tell you that it's an infection. It just says there's an inflammatory process in the body. They're called inflammatory markers. I don't want to make it too complicated. One of them is a platelet count. Platelet count goes up, for example. I'll give you a story, very recent, about 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, an 85-year-old white man who was a retired orthopedic surgeon that I'd known him for many years, when I started practice, he was in practice, but he's retired. So I started practicing general practice 43 years ago. So he came to me and it's for a routine checkup. Yeah, just I like for that age group, I like them to come see me just to check up everything's fine. So I sent him for a simple blood test. And all that there was in that blood test, nothing more, was that platelet count was slightly raised. All other blood tests, PSA count, liver, kidney, everything normal. So I said, we ought to do something about this. I called him again. I said, do you have any symptoms? So with the bowel cancer, you also get change of bowel habit. So if you've been going once a day for your life and suddenly you start going 3 times a day, that's a change of bowel habit. If your bowel consistency is watery, loose, that's a change in bowel habit. So I asked him about all those. I asked him about urine symptoms. I asked him about feeling tired. I asked him, he said, no, nothing. So I examined him from top to bottom. I didn't find anything wrong. Okay? So I said, we have to do simple. Let's do a fit test. Fit test is the poo test. We did a fit test, it came out positive. So I said, now we have to make sure, of course, blood in the poo does not always mean due to cancer. If you brush your teeth very hard, you'll find blood in your poo. Yeah? So then, having found it, then I couldn't leave it. I said, we have to find it. So I sent him for an urgent scan of his bowel. And indeed, there was a very early cancer of the cecum, or the right side of the large intestine. And alhamdulillah, he's had the operation removed, fit as anything. But good job that we detected early. Have I answered you?
Without symptom, is it possible? I believe you.
So he had no symptoms.
No, but sometimes without symptom, unless you go for screening, thank God he came to you for, but I don't have any symptoms. But there is a possibility for me, I believe it's pancreatic or liver cancer. You may, I don't know.
So liver blood test will show it. Blood test will show it. Look, I think at our age, you can quote any GP in Harrow and give him my name. Okay? You have a right, if you're over the age of 65, to have a blood test. Just a routine blood test. Check your full blood count, check your liver, check your kidneys. If you're a man, have your PSA done. You've got every right to go and ask your GP. And then you've got a right, I think, to ask him to repeat it. At least every 3 years. Okay? Your GP might not agree to do it more often, at least every 3 years. All my diabetics, all my hypertensive patients, all my other patients with regular medication, I do it every year. Every single year blood test. So through that blood test, we can detect asymptomatic.
Thank you.
Okay.
There's one point, I think you didn't touch on postmenopausal bleeding.
Do you want to repeat again? I'm sorry for the women's.
Just to switch it on. Press it. It's on. You did touch on postmenopausal bleeding in ladies, which I've seen somebody who developed endometrial cancer, which was missed. Unfortunately, they didn't send her for further tests for that. They did decide it's a normal bleeding. So that's one thing you didn't touch on. And the other thing about the stool blood test, we said, I had it myself, and it was positive. I had a stool blood test, it was positive. I did a colonoscopy, and they saw a polyp and removed it. So it is very simple to be done. Please don't, as you have suggested, don't ignore it.
Dr. Rahim, thank you so much for those 2 points. So Dr. Rahim's point was that if there is blood in the poo, then it's not always cancer. And I told you it is not always cancer. It was a polyp in his case. And the polyp is a simple lump of no significance, removed, end of story. And his second point about cancer of the womb, the uterus in women, very important indeed. And I think I did touch slightly, if you are a woman, if you have stopped your periods, if you are postmenopausal, and if you bleed, it is a sign that you must visit your GP as quickly as possible for him or her to arrange further tests.
talking about the blood test. One way is that said that the first stage of developing cancer, and they keep an eye on you if you have lymphatic cells. Can you talk about anything about lymphatic cells, CML, CCL or CCML?
CML is chronic myeloid leukemia.
That's right, yeah. With lymphatic cells.
I'm not sure if I understood your question fully, but lymphocytes are one type of white cells in your blood. These are soldiers that fight infection. So neutrophils fight bacteria, lymphocytes fight viruses, monocytes fight viruses, eosinophils fight allergies. So these are all various types of white cells in the blood. And yes, when we do the routine blood test, and it comes under standard routine blood test, full blood count, we would actually look at the count of all of those different cells as well. And in certain types of cancers of the blood, for example, chronic myeloid leukemia being one, CML, acute lymphatic leukemia, acute myeloid leukemia, all are detectable by and large on those blood tests. So there are suspicious signs there, then you obviously send them for further tests and refer them. By the way, I forgot to tell you one thing, which I should have remembered when I prepared the slides. We are again so lucky in this country. If your doctor suspects that you have got cancer, he has got access to a two weeks referral pathway. In other words, he fills a special form, marks it urgent, scans it, it goes directly to the hospital, whichever department, whether it's lung cancer he suspects, bowel cancer suspects, breast cancer suspects, whatever cancer, throat cancer suspects, whatever. That goes to the consultant within 2 weeks, guaranteed you get an appointment. Which other country offers that? Free of charge. Which other country offers that? You think I'm standing here marketing for Sunak? But really, we are lucky. We are really lucky.
If you are a diabetic, is there a greater chance of cancer?
There's no associated risk. So does diabetes predispose to cancer? Not necessarily.
Is sugar one of the main causes of getting cancer? Because I understand sugar is something that creates the cells of cancer. And also we were talking about that, you asked me to remind you, is the fear, not the fear, but just being too lazy not to send in the stool sample because there is no sign, personally I feel, that I'm lethargic or whatever to have cancer. But I always believe if there is no need to invite something, psychologically.
Your first question was, yeah, sugar per se directly, I don't know. There may be some evidence, literature. Being overweight is a risk factor for cancer. So I don't think. But your other question, you're still mulling around the same argument that you asked me earlier. I think we need to talk outside this panel. But really, I fail to understand, free of charge, if somebody is offering a test to detect early cancer, your argument is that I'm feeling fine. I've got no symptoms. I'm okay. Yes, you might be okay. And inshallah, you live up to 120. And inshallah, you'll die peacefully. But if you have that possibility of having that cancer, I've convinced you, I hope, that there is definite advantage in detecting it earlier in terms of curative rate. Yeah, but some people are just ziddi, and you can't change them. I feel sorry for your wife.
I'm not ziddi, to be honest.
I think when you get books in a mosque free of charge, I normally take it and put it on the shelf. It's free of charge. So with these tests that are being given by the government free of charge, I don't look at it as free of charge. I worked hard for over 40 years. I paid my taxes. I paid my national insurance. I already paid for these tests. So I might make myself use of those tests.
Yeah, please talk on cancer.
Yeah, I was talking about cancer.
Yeah.
Last question.
I just want, is blood cancer curable?
Just listen.
Is blood cancer curable?
So there are many types of blood cancers in the young and the old. There's a young blood cancer. There's a blood cancer in the young called acute lymphatic leukemia, which is almost 100% curable. But in blood cancer, just like all other cancers, early detection is important. If there's early detection, yes, it is curable. But some blood cancers like acute myeloid leukemia, despite aggressive chemotherapy, the survival may not be as good. I haven't got the statistics for that, so I can't actually tell you the figures. Okay. Are we done?
Yeah, there's from the ladies who didn't get a chance, I'm giving them a chance of these two questions. And that's we are finishing and we have got...
Okay. First question is, what is the sign of brain tumor and what are the symptoms? I think it's a very important question because everybody thinks they've got brain tumor. Everybody comes to my surgery with a headache and says, I've got brain tumor, please send me for a scan. It's not easy, but can I say headaches by and large do not necessarily mean anything serious. Everybody suffers with headaches. The commonest cause of headaches is dehydration. Drink plenty of water and see if your headache clears or not. But brain tumor, quite often, brain tumor means a space-occupying lesion, isn't it? Something that shouldn't be there is suddenly there in the brain. So just imagine you've got a skull, you've got a soft brain there, and somebody has put a size of a marble inside the brain. That marble is going to grow up to a ping pong ball. Okay? So as it grows from very smallest to the larger, it is going to create symptoms. One common symptom is seizure. A fit. You know what I mean by fit? Kench, huh? So if a person who doesn't normally suffer with fits presents with a fit, okay, that needs to be investigated. There are types of headaches which are called thunderclap headaches. That if you get a sudden headache, really severe headache, so severe that you just can't even function, but it wasn't there and it suddenly started. That needs to be investigated. It may not be cancer, but can be due to a bleed in the brain. So, by and large, and if that marble or a ping ball was lying in your frontal lobe, you would get personality changes. The man's personality changes. He or she is functioning differently, talking differently. So these are again signs. So brain tumor, symptoms-wise, is difficult, I agree, until you get a CT scan and then finally detected. I hope I haven't missed any obvious answers there. So seizure and personality change. Of course, if it's near the eye pathway, eye nerves, then blindness or visual or auditory hearing problem on one side. Not both sides. Standard hearing loss is both sides, but the hearing is only on one side, then you worry about that side as well. Look, best to discuss with your GP. He or she should be able to do a CT scan or refer you for one if they're suspecting anything. There's one more question there. Okay, high level of white cells, cause and what to do. So I already talked about white cells earlier. Yeah? So this is the same question that... Okay, if your colonoscopy is done regularly, it is essential to have the stool. So The answer is no. If colonoscopy means putting a tube up the back passage to have a look with a telescope all the way intestine, a large intestine. So you'd only get a colonoscopy done regularly if you have already had some problems before. Okay, so you're already under a specialist. So then you don't need to do a stool test, yeah, because you're already under some sort of surveillance anyway.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much for everybody who has listened attentively, and we will invite again with other subjects with our Dr. Merali, and we thank him a lot. Now we are inviting Mehdi's brother, your brother, Mr. Fazal, who has come from Tanzania, and we would like him to introduce himself. And he is very active in the Jamaat in Dar es Salaam, and he has done a lot of charitable work. Please, Mr. Is it Mushtaq Fazal? He is also my friend as well. We have been in senior in Dar es Salaam, and he is really contributing to this. Please. Yeah. Thank you very much. Present Karboshi? How do you do it? Similar to this.
Did you receive that? Did you receive that? I sent you an email or no? Can I connect it from my computer? Put it in this one?
I'm a copy करेंगे, but she will send it there. Oh, Max. Oh, Max. Email तरीका.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
What is the topic?
Yes, let him put that. I'll just introduce the subject. How many of you have heard of International Investments Limited, renamed National Investment East Africa Limited? Anybody? Heard of this? કોઈ કેન્યા, યુગાન્ડા, ટાંઝાનિયા આવે છે કે બધા અહીંયાના જ તમે? કોઈ સમાચાર નથી મને. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oh my Lord, expand my breast for me and make my affair easy to me and loosen the knot from my tongue that they may understand my word, inshallah. I wanted the screen to go in there. But anyway, before I start, can you recite the Surah Fatiha for all marhumin in our community? And ask Shifa for everyone who is suffering in any way in this world. Al-Fatiha. નવો જોઈએ મને કે જો કંઈ હોય તો 1962. Yeah. Did invest. Sure, you might have seen me a few minutes ago before when this thing was going. I was sticking those papers there. So if you get time later on, just go and have a look at those papers. It is put in city-wise. So every city, if you or your grandfather or your father or your mother or anybody was staying in Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Mogadishu, Madagascar, Burundi, then the names might be there. It might be some of you who know them, maybe your relatives are there, so just go and have a look at them. And if you see that name, please either you can put in the comments the name of the person or the contact, or you can contact me afterwards and then I'll write down, okay? Inshallah. I'm going to tell you a little story of this company and what happened to it and where we are now and what next, inshallah, in the next 15 to 20 minutes. As my timing is so short, I can't put any spice in the story, so please excuse me for it. I don't know if I can't see it because I wanted you to see that. The company was formed on the 22nd day of February 1962 as Ithanashri Investments Limited, and then changed on the 29th of July 1965 to National Investments East Africa Limited after a few years. So the problem is that the slide is not there, and I had put the photographs of the 7 people, the founding members of the company at the time of the company formation are put in the slide, out of which only one is surviving, who is currently living in Peterborough. You can also see I've put down the age at the time of the formation of the company so that you know that how young the people were when they formed this company. So the first one was Haji Ibrahim Hussain Sharif. The second one was Hassan Ali Pirbhai Visram. The third one was Muhammad Taqi Remtullah. The fourth one was Haji Muhammad Ali Sharif Jiwa. The fifth one was Hassan Ali Muhammad Ali Ladak. The sixth one was Muhammad Taqi Hussain Karim, who is still alive and living in Peterborough. I've asked him to come tomorrow to Birmingham if he can, because we want, if he...
He's from Moshi origin.
Yes, he's Moshi origin, and he is the only surviving. And I'm not sure if he'll come, because he's quite old now. He's almost 92, 93 years old. And the last one is Haji Dost Muhammad Ghulam San Moledina. Now, if you see the ages when they started this, it ranges from 32 to 53. How many of you are here between 32 and 53? Anybody? Or you're all above 69 or 70? Well, we'll ask the other group when I go in Birmingham how many of them, so that we can use these people to start a new NIC now, everywhere in the world. That's the idea, and I'll tell you about it at the end, inshallah. Each one of the founding members bought 50 shares, each at 100 shillings, which at the time was worth US dollars 14 per share, or sterling 5. One sterling was $2.80 in 1962. I have compiled this report from various minutes, which I have come to get hold of from the 31st of August 1975 up to the current. There are many documents missing, so I'm sorry if the information is incomplete. But if anyone has any questions, I will try my best to answer during question and answer time at the end of inshallah. NIC was one of the 3 companies which was initiated by our community during those times. The other 2 were Kibo Match Corporation, which was located near Moshi, and Jamhuri Saisal Estate Limited, which had 3 estates. One in between the town of Moshi and Arusha Road, and the other 2 were in Tanga region. Alhamdulillah, Ahmad Bhai Daya gave me some information of these 2 companies last week. I will do more research, and if possible, whatever the assets are there, I will make an effort to distribute in future as well, inshallah. A total of 15,574 shares at 100 shillings or equivalent to sterling 5 or equivalent to 14 US dollars were bought by about 360 shareholders from many cities and towns in East Africa and neighboring countries. The cities which are on the list are displayed to check if anyone have bought it and to let me know so that we will then contact you before the end of the year and to tell you what the plan is, inshallah. The cities which are in the list are Arusha, Brattonwagan, Bujumbura, Dar es Salaam, Diagnosoros, Dodoma, Fort Portal, Hoima, Jawar Murg, Kampala, Karachi, Kigoma, Kitenge, Lindi, Majunga, Mbale, Mbeya School, Mogadishu, Mombasa, Moshi, Mtwara, Nairobi, Narombo, Pangani, Songea, Soni, Soroti, Tanga, Tor, Tulier, Tunduru, Usambara, and Zanzibar. Okay. So I wanted you to see the slide, and in the slide I've mentioned that the total amount of money which they collected was 1,557,400 shillings, which was equivalent to the same Kenyan shillings and Ugandan shillings. At that time it was the same. Or sterling, 77,870 pounds, or dollars, $222,486. At the extent of $1 to 2.80 US dollars, or 20 shillings per sterling was, out of which 1,336,625 shillings, or 66,831 pounds, or $190,946 was used to purchase 5 buildings with 28 apartments. There was a balance money of shillings 220,775, which I think were used to buy shares from various other companies, including Kibo Match Corporation and Jamhuri Science Estate, and some other companies in Kenya. I don't know, have any records of this NIC buying these shares, but in the minutes there is some discussion about Kibo and Jamhuri, so I don't know exactly what it is. I haven't been able to trace that. In the table, I have put down the 5 properties and the cost of each properties. So when it comes, we'll probably see it later on. The company was doing quite well. It started declaring dividends from the first year of operations. If you see the dividends declared is shown, it is the graph I've put down. If you see from 1963 to the time of nationalization, which was in 1971, about 93 shillings and 50 cents Tanzanian shillings were already given back to the shareholders. And if you see it from 1970 up to 1974, because I took it until 1971 and then I took it to 1974, then 103 shillings and 50 cents was paid to the shareholders. That means the total capital was paid to the shareholders. I believe most people received this, as many people from that time started immigration to other countries because of policy of these countries. In 1967, the government of Tanzania passed a series of laws by which certain businesses transferred to peasants and workers, what they call ujamaa. And many industries were nationalized, like banks, import-export firms, and milling firms, and partial nationalization of some big manufacturing corporations. On 23rd of April 1971, 1,341 buildings were nationalized, of which 4 of them were of National Investment East Africa Limited. 1 was not. Why? I'm not sure. I have some suggestions. The one which was spared was on 572 Mindu Street. After reading the Nationalization Act, there could be 2 reasons why it was not. In this property, there were 4 semi-detached houses. And in the table, I've marked that. And the cost of the property was 162,519. And this would mean 40,630 shillings for each apartment. And the total rent per year was 7,512 shillings per apartment per year. Now the criteria, as per what I have understood, any building which costed more than 100,000 shillings, or the rent per year was more than 100,000 shillings, would come in this category to be nationalized. So it is possible that the other reason could be that 3 of the tenants of this property were from the president's office, and 1 was occupied by the parastatal Tanzania Tea Authority. I can't think of any other reasons. The other thing about the act that was that any building which is more than 10 years would not get any compensation. And if the building was less than 10 years, it will get part of it which was left out of the 10 years. So in the case of NIC, the company had bought these buildings in 1962. That means it had already passed 9 years. So there would mean a compensation of only 10% of the 4 buildings which were nationalized. So that the total value of the 4 buildings was 1,174,106 T shillings. That 10% means 117,000 shillings, 410 shillings. That was the compensation we received. And the compensation was received in 1976 for 3 buildings and 1977 for the 4th building. Okay, so just tell me when you stop so I can stop then, okay? In the meantime, there was constant from the directors of the company to follow up on the application forms and letters to higher authorities to explain to them that these buildings were owned by old people, widows, divorced, orphans, and charity. And it was not benefiting individual persons or companies or families, but a lot of people were owning these shares. These efforts have been continuing in different ways up to the present time, and we will continue to put our effort to do that until we get it back, inshallah. We must thank and appreciate all the directors of NIC who have worked tirelessly to keep the company going even after nationalization and to get benefits to shareholders without taking much allowance to run the company. There have been times when no remunerations has been taken, and there have been times when there was no money for repair of the only property which was not nationalized. At one time, 5 of the directors and the secretary loaned the money to repair the one maisonette so that it could be rented at a higher price because one of the tenants had left that. There was no rent being paid by the original tenants as well. So we need to appreciate these directors. And I don't want to name them because there are many who served as directors of NIC, and they worked very hard to work and where we are now. Let's pray for them who are still alive and also those who have left us as well with the Surah Fatiha. In 1990, during the time of our second president, President Honorable Ali Hassan Mwinyi, our federation and Jamaat, doing various charity works, got the opportunity with some connections to be returned back, some buildings to be returned back, including the building which is opposite Aga Khan Hospital, which is now a school in Dar es Salaam. And the Ibrahim Haji Hospital was one of the other buildings also being returned. Around the same time, the directors of the NIC were told that if we can allocate the balance 9,426 shares, which were not purchased out of the 25,000 which were authorized as non-voting shares to a charity organization like AF or Bilal, then this would make a better chance of returning these properties. Although at that time about 25% of the shares were already owned by Bilal Muslim Mission and the Federation, after the exodus of many people from East Africa with the police of Tanzania, as explained above, Uganda after Idi Amin expelled most of the Asians in 1972, and Kenya, I think, because of Africanization of the businesses. I'm not sure about that. And Marhum Maulana Sayyid Akhtar Wizi and Marhum Fidawa by Hamir convinced the people who were moving out of the country to donate their shares to these institutions so the dividends can be used for charity purposes for them and their marhums as well. This is how AF and Bilal were already they already had approximately 25% of the shares at that time in 1990. Come 2007, I was requested to become one of the directors of NIC. And after some time, we received a proposal to swap our property, which was earning about 42,000 US dollars per year, to a bigger property, which was earning 108,000 US dollars per year. Alhamdulillah, we made the swap in 2009. I resigned from the directorship in 2009 as I had other commitments. And also AF, being our majority shareholder, asked all directors to resign and to start with members as the new directors. They wanted to start with new members. Well, I don't know. Oh, okay. Can we have the first slides? I just can explain you. Up, 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 up. Hey, it's not there. Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, so anyway, there was some. There was two slides. Can you put that blue and the other one? In that, I have actually put down some of the figures of the accounts for the last, from 1965 up to date. I've put all the accounts as a total figure, and it gives you some information on it. Maybe you can afterwards, if you get the chance, this one, see, you can see here, 67 to 2016. This is the when we had the 5 buildings, this was the income for the 67 to 70 for 4 years. But anyway, it was more. And then we had the only property, which was this one. This is the one which was nationalized. And this one gives you the new property from 2010 to 2008, how the rents and the income is there. So you can see that the income was more here.
Got 2 minutes.
Okay. So, eh? Sterling pound. Sterling pound, yeah. In time, because of compliance issues, the directors at that time finally decided to sell the property in their AGM on the 7th of December 2014 by tender. The property was finally sold to Africa Federation for activities of Bilal Muslim Mission in 2016. So now what? Currently, my team of directors who have been appointed in 2022-23, our mandate is to close the company and distribute the asset value to the shareholders as quickly as possible, and to ask them either to donate in their marhum's name to Bilal or AF with the least bureaucratic procedure. I think I can go in now ahead. Yeah. If there is any questions, then you can ask later on. Yeah, no promise.
Thank you very much.
No promise.
I think there's only one point. Big amount should come back.
So maybe in close.
Shares, you can get $100.
So just let me just give you in final.
Yes. Thank you very much. We are starting with Yasin. Yeah.
After prayers, if anybody wants to ask, maybe we can discuss. Okay?
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم. تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنزل آباؤهم فهم غافلون. لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مكمهون. وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فاغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون. وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاء المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فزدنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون. قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين. قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم. قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون. أتخذ من دونه آلية إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاءتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون. إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر ربي وجعلني من المكرمين. وما أنزلنا على قوم من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين. إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون. يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون. ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون. وإن كل لما جميع لدينا مؤضرون. وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون. وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم فلا يشكرون. سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض من أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون. وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون. والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم. والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم. لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون. وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذرية في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون. وإن نشأ نريكم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقضون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين. وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها مؤرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا مؤضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين ونعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تأكلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لتمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا صراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانة فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمر نقص في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينزل من كان حيا وهك القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما أملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وظللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون اتخذوا من دون الله آلية لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند مؤضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلق قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for listening, and those who have contributed so much, and Mr. Fazal, who is our guest of honor. I would like to announce to say Al-Fatiha for Marhum Fatma Bai Rashid Moledina, Marhum Moledina Asarwala family, Marhum Berali Devji family, Marhum Rashid Hemraj family, Marhum of Sundarji family, and Marhum Murtaza Ghulam Hussain Rajbali, Marhum Muhammad Akbar Nathani family, and all our Marhumin and all whom you remember. Please, Al-Fatiha. Thank you.